Veterans Voice is a show that connects veterans and active members of the military to qualified guests who help you find programs and benefits you qualify for and discuss housing, education, career training, and other topical matters. Every show addresses issues that affect your life. Each week, Veterans Voice will begin with a story from one of our veterans about his or her experiences in the military. We want to thank these veterans for sharing these stories with us. Call in and share your experience. 781-837-4900. And now, a voice from one of our veterans.
This week's veteran story is William Wallace. William is a former member of the USS Dickinson destroyer who spent over 20 years in the Merchant Marines after spending some time with the Navy. William Wallace sat down with Charlie Duquette to tell his story.
After Pearl Harbor, I went into the Merchant Marine, sailed during 3 wars. The most action I saw was on my ship, the SS William F. Humphrey, which was an oil tanker, was sunk by a German warship.
Okay, now tell me about, do you remember the name of the German ship that sunk your oil tanker?
The name of it was Nickel. It rhymes with nickel. Well, it was as heavily armed as a cruiser, and it had a float plane for spotting targets. Yeah, we were in the South Atlantic, just below the equator. It happened at night. I was on watch when it happened. It was about 9:32 at night. I was the engineer on duty. We had a fireman and oiler. When the attack started, the other 2 men, they left the engine room, and the captain had given the order to abandon ship, but he never passed the order on to the engine room. So I stayed there till the lights went out, and I had to leave. Well, the German ship kept shelling us, and the Navy gun crew fired back at the German ship, and that upset them, and so they retaliated, and they gave us everything they had for quite a while. They fired about 60 shells at us. Most of their guns were the equivalent of a 6-inch, of course. Okay. And then they had torpedo tubes.
Okay, so you're on top deck. You finally made it up from the bowels of the ship. What did you see, and what did you do that night?
Well, I went right to my room because I had $300 in my wallet, and I didn't want to leave that behind. So I went in my room, unlocked my locker, got my wallet and stuffed it in my back pocket, and I was about to leave when another shell hit us, and it blew in what I call the ceiling of my room. And I received I'd already received 2 wounds in the head when I was finding my way out of the engine room, and this was a lot bigger wound. When I realized that the ship wouldn't remain afloat very much longer, I dove overboard.
Tune in next week to hear the rest of William's story and how he found his captain and nearly missed 2 torpedo attacks.
Good evening, everybody. It's Greg Brasso, your host of Veterans Voice Radio here at WATD 95.9 FM down in Marshfield. So welcome, folks. We've got a great show tonight. We've got our friends from Northeastern University back in, Andy McCarty, Robert Foster, and gentlemen, That's you two guys.
Yes.
Thanks for coming in. We love Northeastern.
Yeah,
thank
well,
you
thanks for
so
having
much
us.
for what you guys do. Andy, thank you. Thank you. You look great tonight.
Oh, thank you very much.
That's good.
Feeling
Robert,
good.
everything going well?
It's awesome. Yeah, thanks a lot.
Now, are you folks still in the summer? Now, do you have a summer break now? Has there been a little bit of a change at Northeastern with your with the amount of semesters and 5 years and 4 years and all that?
Right. So we've a number of our colleges are on the semester system. So we're in the summer semester right now.
Okay.
So typically, a good number of our traditional undergraduate students are either on co-op right now, so they're working full time for a company, or they're on their summer break, or they're taking summer classes. So we do see a drop in the number of students on campus, but we also have a number of colleges that are on the quarter system, and so they're constantly, year round at school.
And you have a special program tonight. You have a guest. We have a guest caller in that you're going to be talking about tonight,
Right.
Andy. Do you want to warm us up a little bit for Tom that's calling in right now?
Sure. So, at Northeastern, what we really try and focus on is employability for all of our students, but especially for veterans. They're employed full time, they're gainfully employed in the military, and then they get out and they may be coming to school, but really school is a means to an end. It's a way to find your next employment. And really, the old GI Bill was a transitional tool. The new GI Bill is more about it's transitional employment. Going to school full time, getting your housing allowance, and being able to survive while you're attending school, hopefully full time.
Yep.
So it's programs like Edge for Vets, and Tom, I believe, is calling in to talk a little bit more about it.
Tom, you out there? Tom?
Yes, I'm here. I'm listening. It
Oh,
sounds
very,
great.
very good, Tommy. Thanks for calling in tonight.
You bet, Greg.
Yeah, so we just feel free to jump on in, Andy. Feel free, to talk about your program. We're really looking forward to hearing about it.
Sure. Well, Tom is the founder of the program. Tom works at the Human Resiliency Institute at Fordham University. And Tom, why don't you take us through the program?
Yeah, well, let me just pick up on your plan, Andy. I think you nailed it well. The vets are thinking employment, and therefore the job, the task, what you're doing and what we're helping you and Robert with and your vets is how to accelerate them back into the civilian workforce. And I think you're right, Andy, that school is transitional. They're in school to sharpen skills, but really I think the need they have is to translate the skills from the military into tools that they can then use to be successful in the civilian sector. And so they're in school, but even while they're in school, as you know, they're thinking, how am I going to get long-term employment? So what we do and what we're going to be doing with you starting July 16th with the Edge Vets Workshop Series is we provide that piece, that workshop experience that helps them in a very specific way learn how to translate their skills from the military into those tools that can help them land a job and be successful in the job. And as Andy said, we've been doing the program for 4 years at Fordham University in New York. And Mike Dunford, who headed up the HR effort at Covidian, now Medtronic, Mike was the one that reached out and said, gee, I wonder if this can apply to Massachusetts. So Mike brought us up to the Edge Vets program up to Massachusetts. And Mike put together a collaboration of corporate partners. He's got about 12 companies working with us. And I'll let Andy and Robert talk, more about it as well. But in a nutshell, what we do is we offer that translation instruction, but we do it in the context of bringing in employees from those 12 companies to sit in the workshop with the vets as mentors, to be sounding boards for them. As we offer the instruction in how to translate the skills, the mentors are there to provide support and guidance, but also become a network that once the vets have been made job ready and translated and ready to go, then these HR reps from the companies and hiring managers become an incredibly valuable network for them to then connect to job opportunities. So in a nutshell, what the Edge Vets Workshop Series seeks to do is to prep by offering the instruction in how to translate your skills, and then simultaneously the connect, so that by the time you finish the workshop series, you've got the prep, but you've also got connections to folks who can place you. So I think that's the unique thing that we do.
Hey,
And,
hey, Tom, this is Charlie Duquette. It's good to hear your voice again.
good to hear you, Charlie.
Hey, the other thing, and I know you're going to talk about it, what I liked when I had my vets participating in the program, my feedback was not only are they mentoring in a workshop, but it's a partnership workshop, and they're having lunch together, and they're going from one subject area to another and talking it through. But what they liked the most was a lot of them were able actually to get, at the end of the program, to be scheduled for a screening interview, a real live interview with all the tools they just practiced, keywords and presentation and how to ace the interview and all those different things in a collaborative way. They actually sat down with a hiring manager. And could you talk a little bit about that success?
Yeah, I can. And again, we're like really delighted to work with Andy and Robert at Northeastern on this. We started the process about a year and a half ago with Janine Wirt, who runs the vet program up at UMass Lowell, and then all the success of that will be expanding to Boston. But again, picking up on your point, Charlie, I think the value for the vet is that simultaneously they get the translation instruction, but it's not like, as I offer the workshop, it's not me talking and people listening. It's like I tee it up in the workshop, I tee up the discussion for them to translate their skills. And the learning goes on, as you say, with the employees from our partner companies who sit in there and become sounding boards for them, but simultaneously also become helpful to them to show them how to apply those skills for job opportunities. So by the time they leave the workshop, and in fact, some folks get hired right out of the workshop.
Right.
They've got the job opportunities, and I think that's what you're talking about, Charlie, that the vets find it valuable because it's prep combined with connection.
Tom, I'd like to ask a question. This is Greg. And I'd like to know, Tommy, what direction now, it's Edge for Vets to go into the workforce. Is it the biomedical field? Is it advanced biotech? Is this is all biosciences, biosciences, or across the board?
Well, we started it, and Mike Dunford, as head of HR at that point with Covidian, that's in the life sciences area. That's Massachusetts' fastest growing industry. The question was, could this program be used to prep vets for jobs in life sciences? So we started with a group of life sciences companies, Vertex, Fresenius, Pfizer. We had a group of companies that we started with, and now we are expanding. Eversource is an energy company. They're coming in. Staples is a retail chain. They're coming in. All of these folks want quality workers, and there's nobody better than a vet. And Andy was talking about it. They're in school to prep themselves for getting a career, and there's really nobody better. But they've got to be made job ready. So that's what we seek to do as a catalyst with everything that Andy and Robert do at Northeastern to help them advance. Look at the Edge for Vets program as a catalytic factor within that to speed that process for the goal that everybody wants, which is to get vets into jobs.
And Tom, this is Charlie again. I took the best practices from that, and I developed a very successful program called Veterans Career Boot Camp, where we modeled the same kind of premises that military likes to train, and then they like to apply what they did in training, and best of all, in real combat. Well, guess what? This is career combat. So what I did, and I did 2 beta tests, and what we did real quick was we had the vet boot camp, and right after that, they went to recruit military and practiced everything that they learned. Right, Greg? You were there.
Yep, absolutely. And right now, we're gonna come back to that second effort, after the training, the actual, and now you're face to face. Tom Murphy is our guest caller, calling in from Fordham University, and we're talking about this great Edge for Vets program, which is a vocational workshop that is being brought to Northeastern University on July 16th at 10 o'clock. And Tommy and Charlie, you were just talking about the degree of preparation that this now gives to the veteran when they're going out into that new world of civilian jobs.
And you're right. It's a little bit of hands-on and a vocational perspective, but it's really, I think Tom will agree with me, it's more of a career development program with hands-on. You know what I mean? So you get the vocational, we think of hands-on. Well, this is face-to-face with the people that actually are the decision makers and have been with these different, like we did, different sectors, retail, manufacturing, technical, bioscience. So they're actually, whatever you're interested in, you're going to gravitate to, and you're going to learn the speak, and you're going to get more relaxed, confident, and alert to ace those interviews. Wouldn't you say, Tom?
Yeah, and also let me add, I was sharing with Andy that, JetBlue heard about it. Now that we're coming to Boston, they have a very large presence in the aviation industry, so they're sending an exec over. So it's expanding all the time in Boston. And, I think, let me just say, I think what the real need is that the vets have, and I say this after doing this 4 years, these workshops, is that, it's not automatic that you can come back after 2 years, 5 years, or 20 years, whatever, how long in the military, and come back into the civilian sector. It's not automatic that you can automatically go in and pitch yourself to somebody in a civilian HR job. There's a cultural shift that occurs when you go from the military back into civilian life. And when I say that, we talk about going from we to I. And in the military, it's all about a team and necessarily so. But suddenly you're now back, and sometimes it could be, within 30 days going from the desert back into civilian life. And I say I, and I don't mean I in a self-absorbed sense. I more mean I, that to get a job that you want, to get a career that you want, to get the life that you want, you got to be able to go and pitch yourself to somebody in the HR department at a civilian company. And when I say I, you have to sell yourself as an individual. So going from that culture where everything is about team and you're sublimating self, suddenly you're back now in the civilian world where you have to do it on your own. You have to be an individual. It's just you and the interviewer. And so what we seek to do with Andy and Robert at Northeastern is to take the group of vets and show them how they already have the answer. The strengths are there. It's just a case of translating them and putting them into the language that you can use to sell yourself.
Tom, if I could ask another question, do the vets know which direction they're going in before they sign up for this workshop relative to the different industries? Or are you now showing them different industries and vocational paths that, that they're now finding something they didn't even realize before they got there?
Right.
Oh, that's an excellent point, and I'm sure Andy and Robert can talk to that as well from what they see. But we start the workshop with what I call a segment on vision, setting your vision, getting clear about what you want. Because to your point, Greg, they very often can't articulate what it is that they want. So the mentors from the companies who are out there in these jobs that they want to work in, they help them get that clarity on what it is that what work they want to do. And from that perspective that these employees have, these professionals have, being out there every day in the work world, they're able to help the vets clarify that vision for themselves. And then the next step is helping the vets get confidence expressing that so that they can sell themselves. But we find that they don't have that coming in.
Hey, Tom,
yes.
This is Charlie. I've been doing this off in different positions: career planner, recruiter, educator, educational counselor, for 30 years. And I've done this in civilian populations, adult classes, everything, across the boards, right? And I take the person, I say, I'm Master Sergeant, United States Marine Corps, 25 years, hasn't affected one bit. I'm going to guarantee you 110% success. Money, knowledge, skills, abilities, nothing's going to get in your way. I'm going to make the call, I'm going to make it happen. And I'm looking them right in the eye, and I go, you have 10 seconds. Tell me what you want to do with the rest of your life. Go ahead. And 90% on average don't have a clue what they want to do. And the 10% have an idea. Sometimes they say, I want to stop world hunger or something like that. But very rarely do you get people that know and articulate right on the spot exactly where they're going. And so I find that across the board with military and civilian. Like, do you run into that kind of situation too?
That's exactly, and it goes to Greg's point as well. It's exactly why we do the Edge for Vets workshop, Charlie. The Edge for Vets, the 4 in Edge for Vets means something, and there are 4 C's to it. The first one is clarity. You got to get clear about what it is that you want. You got to get clear about the values and the skills that you developed in the military. You got to identify them for yourself and have the clarity Then the second step becomes confidence, expressing them in civilian terms so that you can sell yourself. Then the third step, the third C, is connection. Then we can connect you to the HR reps, because now you're moving in the direction of being job ready, which is what you need to do before you go into that interview. And the fourth C is community. After we help you get a job, then you can come back and help the next group and be a mentor. So the 4 C's: clarity, confidence, connection, community, all work together.
And Greg, wouldn't you say that's kind of what Veterans Voice Network, the real network, is about?
There's no question, Charlie, because it's all of those all of those features are what we bring up somehow in every show that we have.
Right.
In every show, and Tommy, you're putting it together very, very clearly that this is really for a one-day program, and this is not a course or a series. This is just a 2-day program, right, Tom?
Well, it's 2 workshops, one day, full day, and the first part is working on that clarity. Then a networking lunch, like Charlie said, they get a chance to rub elbows and meet the hiring managers, followed by an afternoon session on the confidence, getting confidence. And all that's part of the job-ready piece. Then we give them 2 weeks to absorb all that and hone that. Then they come into the next workshop, which is all about connection and connecting them to the job opportunities. So, but again, I've had 25 years experience developing resiliency, so it's like a nice tight thing now, but it's based on 25 years of doing this. So, like your show.
And Tom, you're going to be in Boston actually for the event that day?
Yeah, well, Andy and Robert, and I'd love to hear them talk about it too, because they've got one of the, I'm down in New York doing this, bringing this to Boston, but, we hear tremendous amount in New York about Northeastern and about their leadership in the state. Janine up at UMass Lowell, another leader, but, you've got some talented people working on the vet issues in the schools, and, Andy and Robert are part of that, leaders in that. So I'm going to be in Boston doing the workshop with them. I'll be facilitating it, and when Mike Dunford is bringing in reps from, half a dozen top-tier companies, but it's being hosted by Andy and Robert at Northeastern.
Well, that night happens to be our next recruit radio show here on WATD. Just happens to be July 16th.
Wow.
And what we normally do, Tom, is we bring in, some of the other Charlies, the Mike Kellys, the other DevOps out there. But this year this month we're gonna switch it around, and we're looking to bring in some of the employers and have them in studio. So maybe, Tom, you could maybe find some time to at least call in again or come and be a guest in studio for the evening and just kind of, talk to the other employers, and we'll have a kind of a roundtable discussion about all of the job openings that the companies like Verizon and if you want to bring in a couple of the drug companies, I know we can get some BAE Systems. We can get a
Mercer Marshall McClellan.
Really great jobs with great companies. But it'd be great to also start some general feedback and to encourage the veterans that they have the skills. And by talking to folks like Andy and Robert at Northeastern and Janine up at UMass Lowell, there is a, I'm not going to call it simple, but there is a conversion theory out there that, we can take your skills and put you on the right path, because there's some serious jobs out there that these veterans are qualified. Tom, I think you have a meeting to go to that you're going to be running off to.
Yes, I do. I'm grateful for Andy having carved a little chance for me to give the specifics, and just let folks know if they want to go to Google and put in Edge, the number 4, and vets, Edge 4 vets into Google. That'll take them to our homepage, which then we got a button on there they click, and it takes them to a flyer that Andy and his staff developed. Josie Smith put together a flyer, and that button, if you click on it, will take you right into Josie to register for the class on the 16th.
How many are going to be able to attend the class, Tom, do you think?
Well, ultimately we want to do many, but we're looking at somewhere between 25 and 30 as a pilot group. So it's really first come, first served. If somebody has an interest in this, they should probably, register right away and claim their spot.
And when they register, Tom, would they get a confirmation so they're sure they're in at that point?
Yeah, Josie is real crackerjack. Andy will tell you, and she coordinates wonderfully, so they get all sorts of follow-up and confirmation. But key thing is to get that flyer that Northeastern created and be able to register and then, get the confirmation. But most important thing is to grab a spot before they're gone.
And what we'll do, Tom, we'll link that to our Veterans Voice website, so anybody wants to come onto our website and on the WATD, the 95.9 WATDFM.com. We'll link that up so they'll be able to get right to Northeastern or get right to you, however we need to set up that link for you.
Great. And before I run and bounce it back to Andy and Rob to fill in, tell you all the great work at Northeastern, let me just, for folks, let them know the companies that will be sending hiring managers and HR reps are Medtronic, Vertex, Fresenius, Boston Scientific, Pfizer, and Eversource, the energy company. So you've got 6 really top-tier companies, and the vets will be making personal contacts and getting personal support from mentors at those companies.
Great. Tommy, great job out there, great theory, and look forward to meeting you in person. Maybe I'll take some time and stop by and sit in for a couple of hours myself.
That sounds great. And again, I just want to say how enormously grateful we are to Northeastern for hosting. And
Thanks,
I'll bounce it back to Andy and Robert tell you about all the great things they're doing there.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Tom.
Well, we're gonna promote this on our shows now right up through the 16th. So, Tommy, once again, thanks a lot for calling in, and great job. Keep up the great work, and let us know what we can do for you.
Okay, talk to you soon.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Tommy. That's Tom Murphy, Edge for Vets from Fordham University. Great caller, great amount of information, and what a great theory he's put together. You guys must be thrilled to have this workshop.
Oh, very
That's
excited.
amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so much about what the colleges are. It seems to me that the notion of going to school is not valid anymore, and I think that's been discouraging for me when I went to school to go to school. But then all of a sudden I had my broken neck and I had to go to school to get a job or whatever. It made it totally different, and to be able to identify all of these great companies that are in and the different career paths, great opportunity.
And they're not phoning it in. They're there, right there across the table from you. That's the big difference.
Yes.
They got skin in the game. The other thing, as far as going to go to school, I think Northeastern has a long history, and you guys can speak about it, as far as they call them the co-op programs.
Right.
Now, I know some people don't take advantage of them for different reasons, but from day one, I think you guys saw that the importance of hands-on, knuckles and know-how learning and education. Is that correct, Andy?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we've been championing co-ops since the very beginning.
No question.
And it's the reason why many of our students come to Northeastern. A lot of people, just to explain what co-op is, because a lot of people, they mix it up with an internship, which an internship is great, but it's probably 20 hours a week. It's a part-time gig. Because the company can't depend on you to be there full-time, they're really not going to invest a whole lot in you as an employee, so you're not going to get as much out of the experience. A co-op is a full-time, very often paid position where you're working full-time with that company
9
for
to
6
5
months.
You're right there with the 6
Right,
months.
for 6 months.
Wow.
And you can complete up to 3 of these in a 5-year program. And so our students, are not only graduating with their diploma and all of the things that comes with, all the experience that comes with, but they're graduating with up to 18 months of real-world
They're
work.
work ready.
Right.
They're
And
work ready.
They've already proven themselves, and they can go right in.